Hello and welcome. My name is Megan Lucky, and this is A Lucky Life. Come along with me as I try and get to know myself better and hopefully help you get to know yourself better too. Dr. Neinstein, welcome to A Lucky Life. My name's Megan, and just a little background on this podcast is I started this podcast to basically go on a journey to find myself, and hopefully by sharing my journey, help other people find themselves and become the best versions of themselves. And I know you are a plastic surgeon, and that's, I feel like, a super relevant topic for a lot of people who want to be the best version of themselves and feel the best in their skin. And I also don't want to over talk too much because I tend to do that. So I really want to open up the floor to you to get started and just tell me a little bit about yourself. That's such a cliche interview question, but a little bit about your background, why you got into plastic surgery, and we'll start with that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to be on your podcast today. And a little bit about me. So I am Dr. Ryan Neinstein. I'm a plastic surgeon, but most importantly, I am a father and a husband and a
So I
brother
hear.
and a son. I grew up in Toronto, Canada. Early on, a lot of my life was filtered through the fact that my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. So it
Wow.
instilled a sense of almost urgency to do something with my life that matters and was
Yeah.
meaningful. Growing up, science and sports held a lot of relevance to me. The camaraderie, the certainty that led me into medicine. As I was moving through the world of medicine, it was clear to me that the quick changes within surgery brought me a lot more joy than the slow changes that happened with medicine.
Yeah.
Loved all the surgical disciplines. I could be just as happy as a brain surgeon and a heart surgeon, but I chose plastics because we have this unique position in the world where we get to make people better than they were when they walked in.
Yeah.
And that to me makes my world a more interesting place.
Yeah. And I think that makes the rest of the world a more interesting place as well.
Correct.
And I know that, and something that we talked about a little bit off camera was I grew up with some limiting beliefs around plastic surgery and kind of along the lines of how it can make you fake to have plastic surgery. But as I've gotten older, I've obviously come to realize it's kind of quite the opposite. Like, you can be completely authentic in yourself and brave to want to know who you want to be, what you want to look like, and go after that. So is there something that you would say to those people who may think that you're inauthentic or fake if you get plastic surgery? What do you wish that they could understand?
Well, I don't try to change others' beliefs because we all see the world
From our
own prism, which is shaped by the experiences we've been through and the people we associate with.
Right.
So what's interesting is the patients that come to me, predominantly women, are overachievers in this world in the sense of academics, athletics. They're psychologically stable, well-being is solid, have interests that extend from into things like philosophy and existential views.
Right.
So they don't get caught in this
in the judgment
self. Correct. They know who they are.
Yeah.
And they're so sophisticated to know that there are things in their body they cannot change, that they do want to change, that they cannot change with diet and exercise. They cannot change with clothing. They cannot change with anything besides surgery.
Right.
And they're making empowered.
That's the biggest thing.
This is completely empowering to women to take, full control of their body, full control of the narrative.
Yeah.
Not determined by, whoever happened to, give birth to them. They can control the one life they have.
Yes. Oh, I think that's so powerful.
I don't see any of these issues because people who see the world through that prism don't come to my office and they don't enter my life.
Yeah. So would you say then you don't have?
I don't try to convince someone of anything. No, listen, I don't always, it's not we don't turn people away.
Right.
It's not always, just like any relationship, it's not always a good fit for a number of
Yeah.
reasons. But I wouldn't try. I don't need to or want to convince someone that they should or shouldn't have
Absolutely.
plastic surgery.
Right. It should naturally come from them regardless. And then they
Correct.
come to you anyway. So you're not really, yeah,
Listen, if patients
faced
want
with
to be a
that.
lawyer, I don't tell them that that's inauthentic of themselves to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a doctor, who are the
Yeah.
majority of my patients, or many of
Yeah.
them, doctors and lawyers. Again, I don't filter.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love that, first of all. And I also think, like, for me, what stood out was empowered. It's not like a decision they're making because they're comparing themselves on social media. It's because they're taking control of their lives and they want to look like this, they want to be like this. So they're doing something about it and they know that that's the right option
Well,
for them.
an interesting discussion, and you could go down, is
Yeah.
if the sexual revolution
Yeah.
was to empower women to make decisions about their body, isn't it the paradox of paradox that people are getting mad that women are making decisions about their body, yet that the whole point was to give them power to make decisions about their body? So
Yeah.
I guess you can't have it both. I
You
don't.
can't have it both ways.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. We
Yeah.
just
Well,
trying to do what everyone says they wanted to do.
I know. And I love that. So, another thing that, and I wanted to ask you, like, what's the most common procedure that you do? I see on your Instagram that you do a lot of mommy makeovers, which I also
Yeah.
think is so empowering. So, can you tell me a little bit more about
Well, if
those
the
and if
goal, if
that's
your
the most
goal,
common?
most common procedure I do is mommy makeover. If the
Yeah.
goal of your life is to make the most amount of impact with your skills in the
Yeah.
world, this is how I make the most amount of impact. I take all these beautiful moms from around the
Yeah.
world whose
Yeah.
body's been stretched and torn from
I
pregnancies,
know. Yeah.
sprinkled with some menopause, and they cannot, no matter how much they diet, no matter how much they exercise, look and feel the way they want. And we can help them do that,
Yeah.
which allows them to embrace every part of their universe in a better light. So
And
if
feel like
that's
the best version of themselves. Yeah.
correct, and if
Yeah.
that isn't doing good, then I don't know what is.
I couldn't agree more. So, would you say that maybe that's the most rewarding part of your job, or is there something
The job,
else?
I mean, I think all people search for work
Yeah.
that makes impact on others,
Yeah.
because can't be this
Hopefully.
driven, someone like me, by it can't be monetary.
Hmm.
It's impossible to stay this driven over that many decades. It
Right.
has to be more than surface level.
Yeah.
So it has to be the intrinsic reward of making
Yeah.
real meaningful impact on people's lives.
Yeah. Did you say you always felt that way?
No, I mean, that the reason it takes a while to find the
Yeah.
operation
Mm-hmm. Because I've been doing
that
that this year.
it takes
Digging
a
deep.
time to find the operation that you want. But like, you'll understand, if you're searching for mastery, you have to find something that you love and that you
Hmm.
literally every single day of your life, not once in a while, but every single day, are trying to further improve. You're always curious, you're always asking questions, you're always trying to learn, and this driving force towards mastery and knowing you'll
Yeah.
never achieve it, but you'll never stop going for it,
Yeah.
has to be the top priority in your life.
Yeah.
Anything less, then you just got to keep looking for something else.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of what this podcast is all about. Like, I'm in that exploratory phase. I feel that I found my purpose, which is connecting and helping other people find their path and their purpose and their whatever they want to master. So, again, like, I'm just now trying a bunch of different methods. I don't know if podcasting is the method I want to master, or if it's writing. I want to write a book one day. I don't know if that's what I want to master. I'm exploring yoga. I'm exploring all these methods where I feel that I'm finding my voice, finding this purpose. I know that I want to do this. I just don't know which route to go, and I don't want to give up. So, when do you think you got to that point where you knew? I mean, I guess we kind of talked about it at the beginning.
Not, I mean,
Yeah.
I was rare that I was pretty driven.
Yeah. And early on you had that.
It was very
Yeah.
early, and that, when it was difficult, whether that be organic chemistry or
Right.
doing a
Yeah.
rotation in medical school I didn't like, or just the long, grueling residency, I didn't lose sight of the long term. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
think the hardest part for people to realize is that even though they love something, it's still gonna suck for a
Yes. Yeah.
long, long, long,
And
long
there
time.
will always be downs.
And the
Always
difference
be.
between, the people who make it and who don't are just
Hmm.
grit, who
Yep.
can who can withstand the most amount of pain the longest.
Yeah. And who know
And
exactly and are so driven to their purpose.
they can see through
Yeah.
the nonsense. And Churchill said success in life is just to go from failure to failure with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So listen, there's
After
no
those
job where you're
failures.
an ice cream taster, and even
Yeah.
if you were, it would suck after a day or so.
Oh, I
So
love that analogy. I haven't heard
you,
that.
you got to you just got to keep trying things, and then when you find what you like, just be willing to tolerate the crap for like at
Yeah.
least a decade.
And what role do you think your family plays in motivating you and being, because I know you're a big family guy. And so I wanted to touch on
So,
that a little bit.
couple things.
Yeah.
Number one, no one's gonna
Do it for you.
no one is gonna do it, motivate you, or so really like
Right.
this is
Support
an
you.
internal
You have, it
fire
has to
that
come
you
from within you. That is
yeah,
great touch
and
point.
a
Thank
lot of
you.
the time you're gonna have to fight your
Yeah.
family because
Yeah. Okay. That's a
you're
great
going to have to
tip.
miss important things. You're going to disregard things because you're so focused on your pursuit. So
Yeah.
but later in life, when you have
Yeah. So how do you now
children and
balance
you get
that?
married, you will find out what the reason and purpose of life is because nothing brings more joy than the love of your child and your family.
Yeah.
And then that will just double down on your pursuits because
Yeah.
are, you know, you want to provide and
Yeah.
protect.
Yeah. It's pure love then, more so, more than anything. So we touched on a lot of the great parts about why you do this and why it's so rewarding. But are there some parts of your job that, like you said, it gets hard? So what would you say the hardest part of the job is? What's the hardest thing that you have to push through on a regular basis and really call
Well,
upon that grit?
we have no objective outcomes. All our outcomes are subjective,
Right.
So the hardest part of our job is when we have a mismatch, patient's perception of outcome
Okay. Right.
versus
I can see that.
ours. And that's problematic and difficult. If we
Challenging.
can't meet the expectations of the patient, even though we've done our best and they are upset,
Yeah.
um, just because it's not our fault doesn't mean
Yeah.
not our responsibility. That becomes very challenging.
Is there any way to like get
No.
ahead of that and like tell if a patient will be like, you know what I mean? Like
I mean, you
beforehand to tell.
try. Obviously, you want to
Obviously there is, yeah.
you want to temper expectations, be realistic.
Yeah.
But what does that
There's only so
mean in
much you can do
reality?
there. Yeah.
No one, people are doing this with high expectations. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Like if I tell
Yeah. And they
you,
wouldn't
I don't
come
know,
to
it's like
you.
you might look better, you might look worse. Like, no one would do it.
It's
So
so it's very subjective, like you said. Yeah.
yeah, but listen, if you hit 3 out of 10 in baseball, you go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We're like 99%. So it's like if we miss 1%, it
Right.
sucks. But like we're still doing all right.
Right. Well, there you go. There you go. I feel like that's a as good of an answer as any. Do you think that there's any like wrong reasons to come into your office or what do you
Yes,
see
solve a
sometimes?
social problem. Solve a social problem. Someone says something to you on a date, you don't need plastic surgery. You think you're married, plastic surgery is going to fix your marriage. That's not a good idea.
Right, right.
You know,
So when
it's
you're doing
not
it
going to
kind of for the
solve a social. It's not going to solve a
external,
social or emotional problem.
right, the external validation versus the internal validation. And
Correct.
is it easy for you to kind of spot who's looking for each?
Nope.
It's not. Oh wow. So do you have like
People don't always tell you.
really? They know that you're looking for that, and so they kind of like beat
No, I
around the
don't think
bush.
people are inherently deceptive or trying to
Right.
con you.
It's maybe they're justifying it to themselves for certain.
You can only ask so many probative questions in a medical
Yeah.
consultation before it starts to become interrogative,
Yeah.
and feel like you're interrogating someone. And
Yeah. So how do you like strike that balance? Like, is what kind of
try to have a free
evaluation?
flowing conversation where you try to ask questions that dive beneath the surface.
Right.
Tell me more. How does that make you feel? What, since when did you feel this way about your
Yeah.
stomach? You know,
Right. Kind of just,
go beneath the surface.
so I know we talked a little bit about the external validation. And just overall in the industry, what do you think social media, what kind of role do you think social media plays
I think it's
within plastic?
fantastic because surgeons get to
Yeah.
show their personality
Yes.
to patients.
Yes. Oops.
So in terms of the celebrity stuff, I have no opinion. I don't care. None of
Yeah.
my, I don't see patients like that. But what I do see is, you know, patients from all over the world that share similar
Yeah.
characteristics to me because I show my personality. They you know, they're overachievers, they're family oriented, they like to do the things I like to do, they like to go to the place I like to go to, they laugh at my jokes.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to meet like-minded people, and it's
Right.
just more fun and
Right.
easy to work with people that we like and get along with. And it doesn't matter if they're
Yeah.
from Paris or China or
Yeah.
Connecticut or Jersey.
Yeah.
Social media has allowed me to meet
Yes.
the world and the world to meet me.
And
Honestly, all the I'm sure you wanted to know about like whatever is happening. I don't care. I don't know, and I'm
no,
not interested.
I don't have like too much of a
I
pointed.
don't see we don't see stuff on trends and this
Yeah.
celebrity. It doesn't come up in my office. It's
Yeah.
not our shtick. It's
Yeah.
not our patient population.
Yeah.
We talk about timeless, elegant looks and
Yeah.
solving problems that moms have. Like
Right. And
none of this.
people coming in mostly with high self-esteem who know what they want, not the
Correct.
low
I I
self-esteem.
I know this sounds ridiculous. I can't remember
Oh,
a patient who mentioned a celebrity
wow.
years in my office. Years.
That's such a good thing for people to know.
Never. I
Yeah.
want, I've never, I haven't heard, I want this person's bum or this
Yeah.
person's
Yeah.
face. This doesn't happen. We
Yeah.
don't talk like that. That's not what
Right.
we're about.
Do you have an opinion? And I probably know your answer to this already. Do you have an opinion on celebrities or people in general who lie about their plastic surgery on social media?
You know what I love
Yeah.
sometimes is my choice of having no opinion.
Yeah. You know what? I knew that that was where this was going.
I have no opinion.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And I think that's great, honestly. Well, what do you do in your free time? Like, do you have any free time? I know that you're super purpose driven and you have your
Well,
family
listen,
to look after.
when people tell you they're too busy to do anything,
They're
just means
lying.
it's, well, it's not that they're lying. They're not,
Yeah.
but they're not making it a priority.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get up at 4:30 in the morning because reading something new every day and
Yeah.
exercise
Me
is a
too.
priority.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, because my days are booked, you know, 6 to 7,
Yeah.
I could tell you I'm too busy to work out. I'm too busy to read.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't. I get up at 4:30. It just means I have to make you know, if I make getting up early to read and exercise a priority, I have to
Yep.
sacrifice other things.
Yep.
You know, I don't really go out during the
That's
week.
great. Yeah.
We don't really, so we go to bed early. Not a lot of TV time.
Yeah.
So it's all about priorities.
Yeah.
You know, fitness and reading in the morning is important to me. And on the
Yeah.
weekends, you know, I want to see friends and family and connect with the world.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, but you don't have to have a lot of things
And do you
going
think,
on.
again, like, do you think you've always been like that? Or was that something you had to readjust to later in life?
I think you're always evolving. And
Always
as you get older,
adjusting.
you know, I'm 42 now. As you get
Mhm.
older, um, health and happiness become more important than things and, well, you know, health and
External
happiness. Yeah.
material
And
worlds.
and your personal health has to become even more very elevated because you can't offer the world very much unless you've got control of your personal health.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there any final piece of wisdom that you would like to share with the podcast community before I let you go back to your busy, purpose-driven life?
Well, you know, if I had to go back to my younger
Yes.
self,
Oh,
you
I
know,
love it.
don't waste time
You
on
should be the
grudges.
podcast host.
Don't waste time on grudges. Don't waste time on criticism. Just
Yeah.
literally let these thoughts flee through.
Yeah.
Don't waste time on anger. These are useless emotions. These are
Yeah.
useless thoughts in your life. Spend more time on joy.
Yeah.
and realize, a few generations from now and 1,000 years from now, it's all dust. So you don't need to waste any time now on any of those useless feelings.
Yeah. Amen. I second that. So I'm working on doing that myself. I think I've come a long way this year with just stepping into that better, highest version of myself who lets the noise just be noise. So, so thank you so much, Dr. Neinstein, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And yeah, I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Megan Lucky, and this is A Lucky Life. Come along with me as I try and get to know myself better and hopefully help you get to know yourself better too.